Enjoyed this morning seeing all these awards, and I know y'all are all deserving, and I'm honored to be a part of this with you. I heard you had Charles Lowry the other day. Isn't he pitiful? But yeah, he's a dear friend. I'm glad that y'all got to be blessed by Charles Lowry. He's a great guy. Now, when I come to North Carolina, you have to understand there are certain things that happen to me, and you're just going to have to forgive me for doing it. But when I come to North Carolina, I'm tempted to break into Billy Graham's voice almost immediately. Look, these ladies right here are nervous because I'm doing Billy Graham on Sunday morning. But being you're not in church, I thought I'd do Billy, and that might sort of coat things over. You know, whenever I do Billy Graham, there's always some sweet lady in a church somewhere that says, I don't think you should do Billy Graham. He's a man of God. I asked her one time, well, ma'am, what do you think about me? She says, we don't know. And then I've had them say, I'm praying for you. And I said, well, I need the prayers. You need the practice. Bring it on, honey. Bring it on. But I got to tell you, I met Billy Graham. First time I met him was about 10 years ago. I was over there at the Cove there at Black Mountain. And they called me and they said, would you come and entertain Dr. Graham and his staff at the Cove? And I said, let me pray about it, yes. And always be ready to give an answer of the hope that's within you. So I went over there, and I didn't know if he would show up because his health is always day to day. You just never know what it's going to be like. Well, all of a sudden, there he was. And they said, Dr. Graham wants to eat supper with you. And so we were sitting at a round table, and I'm sitting next to Dr. Billy Graham. And at the time, he's about 81, and now he's 92. But I was sitting there with him, and I said, Dr. Graham, I hope you don't mind me imitating you in front of your staff and your family here at the Cove. And he leaned over to me and he said, you could take over. And my first thought is, what's Franklin going to do? You know, but I'm ADD and you just sort of think that way. And then I remember when I was imitating him, he was sitting over here and I was watching him while I'd imitate his voice in front of him. You know, I mean, this was my opportunity. I said, live or die, I'm going for it. And I watched him out of the corner of my eye, and I could sense what he was thinking. As I was doing him, he was saying, Lord, I want to know, will Swanberg go to heaven? Will this man be there forever and ever? I want to know, will he go to heaven? And the Lord said yes, and I said, why? And he told me he's never reached the age of accountability. So that helps some of you Baptists out. But anyhow, but I love coming to North Carolina and just my memories of being with Billy Graham. Matter of fact, I remember doing him on a plane from South Bend, Indiana to Cincinnati. It was a 5:40 flight in the morning. And I was tired. I'd been speaking several days, and I'm sitting in first class because I'm upgradable, biodegradable, and all that. Fly all the time, so I'm up there first class, and I'm sort of out of it. 5:40 in the morning, and all of a sudden they let the last person on. This person grabs my knee. I look up. It was Muhammad Ali. I'm not kidding you. And I about lost it. I went, Muhammad, and he looked at me and said, I'm sitting over here. Next to me. I could not believe it. I moved the seat belts for him because he's got that Parkinson's disease, and I wanted to help him out a little bit. We got him buckled up, and I said, Muhammad, I said, I'm an impressionist, I'm a humorist, you're my hero. I've been imitating you and Howard Cosell forever. And Muhammad leaned over and he said, let me hear you do Howard. Well, there I am. I mean, Muhammad asked me to do Howard, so what am I going to do? But I'm going to do Howard. I went, no doubt about it, but what about Smoking Joe Frazier? Smoking Joe Frazier always comes at you. He's known the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. But what about Smoking Joe Frazier? I want Frazier. I'm going to get him. I'm going to dance like a butterfly. I'm going to sting like a bee. I'm going to have victory. My name's Muhammad Ali. Well, when I did that for Muhammad Ali, he leaned over to me and he said these words, you're good. You're good. Well, if they say you're good, you don't stop. And I mean, I'm right there on that plane. I'm thrilled to death. I mean, I did my Forrest Gump. I said, you are my hero. I would never ever box you. If I did, I'd feel like I'd been bit in the buttocks, you know. I mean, I did Ronald Reagan. Yes, no, maybe. Yes. No. Well, whatever Nancy says. I did my Bill Clinton. I said, "Hey, I feel your pain." Must be a lot of Democrats here or something. I don't know. I know I probably shouldn't do this. I didn't ask, Jackie if I could do this or not, but let me just say this, okay? If I had met Sarah Palin in college, I'd be a Republican today. I mean, that's just the way I feel. Okay, moving on. All right. I remember I did Ross Perot. Remember Ross ran for president? Listen, I said, Muhammad, I called up Holyfield because Tyson bit off part of Holyfield's ear. I called up Holyfield and I said, Holyfield, this is Ross Perot. I'm all ears. I'll give you part of my ear. And Muhammad leans over and said, he didn't, did he? He didn't, did he? I said, I just made that up. You know what he said? You're good. Well, I kept on. I was on a roll. I did my Barney Five. I said, oh, let me tell you something. You're awesome. Now, this body of mine, I'm a lethal weapon. And I just do my Barney Five, and then I'd do a jumping story. I said, no, listen to me, Muhammad. Yeah, you've enabled a lot of people to have a wonderful life. You have, I do my John Wayne. Listen up and listen good. Something else, Muhammad. And then, of course, I did my Billy Graham for him. And many of y'all don't know this, but they're very good friends. And I said, Muhammad, I've done stuff for Dr. Billy Graham. And when I'm in his office, he has your picture on his credenza. Credenza. We didn't ever had a credenza when I was growing up. We were working people. We weren't white collar. We weren't blue collar. We were more ring around the collar. Working people down in Central Texas. My dad was a sharecropper. My mama's side had 100 acres. And we didn't have a credenza. We had a TV tray with a Breeze detergent towel slung over. Y'all remember them Breeze detergent towels? Remember Dolly Parton advertised them? I remember that when I was a teenager. I remember it real well. I thought